He is one of a kind. He is a pleasure to be around, and he brings a lot of good vibes and a great amount of energy. We are so lucky today because the Productive Conversations podcast has one of my old pledge brothers and one of the more entertaining people I've gotten to know out of college. His name is Joe Yankus. Yankus, what's going on, buddy? Welcome to the Productive Conversations podcast.
Thank you, Mr. Matt Brown.
Dude, well, how you been doing, man? What you been up to? You before we started this podcast, right before we were recording, you told me you actually didn't have you actually had a pretty good 2020. So tell me what you've been up to and what's going on for the future for Mr. Joe Yankus.
So you got everything is relative, right? So for all intents and purposes, didn't really have a great 2019. So you juxtapose that against 2020, and it's all about perspective. But I was also thinking about how this is probably the most fertile ground for doing a podcast, especially with an old buddy, because we haven't really talked at length for a few years. So we sort of, as far as podcasts go, like we could fill 3x the amount of podcast time that you have today, just catching up in general. But obviously, you know that I don't even need to be, talking about the recent past to just fill the air with, noise. But yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I'm pretty proud of how far you've come as well, because like you were. I gotta say, you like, as far as like our pledge class and just people I knew at school, you were fairly shy when I first met you. And look at you, you have a podcast now. You're in it. What is this? This is like, I'm number 60. Like
number 60, Joe. You're number 60. Big milestone for us. So
60 on your way to 100, on your way to 1,000. So, I mean, Joe Rogan, watch out.
Seriously. Oh man. Thank you for those kind words, Joe. Seriously. That means a lot. And yeah, I guess I felt I always had this persona of putting myself out there within me, but it really took it to college to be comfortable in my skin no matter what now. That's for sure. And yeah, when we first met, Pledge of Theta Chi fraternity, now spring 2014, shit, 7 years. It's been, it was there's definitely a lot of growing pains, a lot of them. And there was a lot of things to overcome to get that confidence, but I don't regret it. And it was totally worth it. And like you said, this podcast is as a result of gaining that confidence, man. And I'm proud to see what you've been doing as Yo Yankus. I've always liked your music you put out when we first got introduced. And I've always liked your specific social media stories. Like, man, you know how to really travel in this world. And we definitely got to talk about that at some point in the show. But yeah, you too. I've been keeping tabs and been happy to see you. Nice. Looks like you're healthy and moving around. That's one of the great things from this podcast is I do get this chance to catch up with people I haven't talked to in a very long time. And I'm very, very thankful that you're part of that list too.
Well, speaking of health, I mean, I think we're both like currently celebrating a few milestones. I know you and I were both not in the best shape while we were pledging, and I know you've like I remember, like, I hadn't seen stuff from you on social media in a while, and I'm like, oh my god, that's like the same dude. You literally put your mind to it. No, they say it's easier for like men to lose weight than women or whatever, but it's not really easy for anybody to like gaining weight is 10 times, because you don't have to you don't have to do anything. In order to backtrack 10 pounds, you have to do like, gaining 10 pounds takes 10 times the effort. Losing 10 pounds takes 10 times the effort or more than it does to gain it. Like, you can gain 10 pounds in a 2-week vacation.
You really
it's going to take you at least 2 months, if not more, just to make a dent in that. So, and I like my specific weight loss journey. I actually, even after we had parted ways from school, I got up to at least 300 pounds at one point. I'm now down to 250. I had gone below that, but quarantine, it's easier to put it on than it is to take it off. But literally, yesterday I went to a personal training session. little group session at a local gym. I'm back in the gym again, and
Great.
so 50 down, 50 to go. You
Well,
know,
I know you'll definitely get that 50. I believe in you. And you're right. When it comes to when you first met, I was about 65 pounds more than I am now. Then the reason why I
wow.
always know that is because my height is one of my highest was 265, right?
Okay.
And I'm a wrestling fan, and that's around John Cena's weight. And I'm like,
Oh my
wait,
God.
I'm not me and John Cena weigh about the same, but we're
we
totally
don't,
different body
we
types.
don't look the same.
And you know, I think what was really great from in the fraternity was just always getting clowned for my weight and not having that confidence, being a overweight person with not a lot of confidence and sense it and have a high amount of sensitivity. It really got to me. And it was the not till senior year I really took seriously eating healthy and working out, and just so much stress and just getting clowned all the time just gave me my motivation to just do it once and for all. And also really listening to my body, as I'm sure you definitely
Oh
understand
yeah.
too. Like when you eat like shit, you feel like shit. And when you eat well, you really do feel like you could go for another run after the fact and stuff. And so with that and trying to just really come of age led to this weight loss. And of course, I've also in that time I've had my plateaus and steps back,
Mhm.
like especially when I was working a lot in New York and then the quarantine. But it was just again the same exact things that motivated me the first time, and understanding that my body can do it again. It We're now where we're at, and just keeping a 5 to 6 day workout schedule, at least always aiming for 6, but no less than 5. And just really eating healthy. And I've been doing well. Changing that is eating very strictly during the week. And the weekends, I'm not at
Yeah,
that
the
level yet
diet
where
is important for sure.
yeah, I'm not at the point where the weekends I could do one cheat meal a day. I do think eventually getting my body ready for that, but I do like more cheat on the weekends. But I'm trying my best to get ready for just doing that one cheat meal a day. But
And
tell
it's
me about
interesting.
what you've been up to with that
Well,
too.
yeah, it's interesting you mentioned like excuse me, like getting clowned for the weight and stuff like that. Like I while I don't condone any form of body shaming, I will admit that like there is a certain level of sort of I'm trying to figure out the word for this, like accountability
Yeah,
that I feel like because um like especially being in a fraternity, like people like us tend to let you're constantly taking abuse joining a fraternity, and
literally.
it's not like it's out of love. It's like the fact that me and all my friends, like, I'm going to directly start to shit on you, especially if I haven't seen you in a while.
Mhm.
Immediately, like, I'm going to tear you apart. It like in the most it's like tearing apart, like tearing the wrapping off of a Christmas gift. It's like the
Right.
most loving shredding possible, but still it's like I feel like that's a way to sort of, I like getting made fun of and making fun of people as a way of like showing love. And
Yeah.
like, because if you're laughing at that stuff, normally it's things that would make you insecure. So if you can kind of take, I that's one of like my core beliefs is like taking that, like trying to figure out a way to make humor out of like your biggest insecurities. Because if you
Yeah.
don't let it, if you don't let yourself laugh at things like that, they're only going to make you cry
Right.
in the end. But getting like, having that sort of like, getting like, me and my friends, like my good friends, my brother, like, obviously the name Joe Yankus especially comes with like an infinite potential for like nicknames. But one of them came out of like from of when I was getting really like a pretty thick boy, and it was Jumbo Yimp. And it like
Oh,
and it like it kind of
that's a name.
so yeah, because it like, obviously has connotations of like blimp or whatever, but like it's funny, but it's also like a little bit of a reminder of, hey, like, And it's one of those things where if you're happy with where you're at,
Oh yeah.
by all means. But I myself was not, like, and it was clear. So it's one of those things where I think a little bit of healthy, you know, uh, pushback on those types of things. Like, of course, if it's something that you physically can't change or you can't do anything about it, you know, obviously it's not something you're going to be able to change, but you still can learn to accept that through sort of that the humor and stuff like that. But I do think, especially as you know, fraternity men, especially, that kind of stuff can actually be motivating in a way.
Absolutely, man. And the popular one I always get being a Matthew is a fat Matt. Can never go away with that. But yeah, I really most to hit on a few things you said. One, yes, no point and no condoning body shaming. And no matter who you are, what you look like, and especially now we've seen more people being open to this kind of stuff, it is okay to look the way you want to look. Some people are happy, either whether they are happy being a bigger person or a smaller person. Be who you are and enjoy it and embrace it. But just be aware of also the health risks that are involved with that as well.
Of course.
And I think keeping that in mind, and also someone who did take a lot of taking a lot of banter and jokes and bullying and stuff like that, there was definitely a time it got to me. And then just whether it was a help just watching a lot of movies, especially listening to a lot of podcasts, or just understanding the point of loving yourself, that you can say whatever you want. It may have taken a very long time. Maybe it didn't take until my early 20s, but it is what it is. That's just how people act. And you just got to remember the most important part is loving yourself and not letting these words get to you. People are going to be mean forever,
Oh yeah.
in any language, in any country, in
Yep.
any state in this particular country, people are going to be mean. It's not going to stop. And also realizing that while trying to enhance myself and becoming coming of age, I came to the conclusion that, you know what, it's never going to change. So I got to accept it. I got to banter back without being offensive and having any ill will.
Yeah.
And also, one of the things, if I lose weight, they can't call me fat. You can call me other silly names, but you can't call me fat. So that's another reason why I just decided to change it up once and for all.
But yeah, I mean, I just it's very rewarding too to like
Absolutely.
be able to, especially, we live in a modern age. It's so easy to take a picture now, to like be able to look back at like that, your most inflated balloon state, if you will,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
be
yeah.
like, oh my, like there are some pictures of me that I look back at, and like they're on my Instagram and I will not take them down. And like there's one especially that's like, it's even worse because like someone pointed out that like there's someone behind me in the picture. And the way that I'm angled and like the way that it's set up is like it's someone's like arm with a sleeve, but it like perfectly follows the slope of my back. So it creates an optical illusion that makes my body look even wider than it already is.
Oh.
So like it's like what me at my heaviest, like in a shirt that is baggy on me now, and like my stomach is bulging out of it. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, and like, thank God, like I had like supportive people still. You look at the comments and like it's you could tell it's all love, but it's like it's very satisfying to look at that, and then like a picture now, and I'm like, I look like I ate myself. It's like it looks like I put on my like body over my body and then got dressed.
Huge props to you for making that happen. And I'm
Yeah.
really proud of you, Joe. Like, I mean, just talking to you, just seeing you be way in a better looking position and stuff. I'm just really thrilled, man. And it's just
Yep.
so satisfying.
And with physical health, everything else follows, because your mental health improves. You're
Yeah.
you're more productive, and you're all, I know you're all about those productive conversations and productive everything. So it's much easier. Like the biology of it makes you just overall, but it enhances performance in every facet of life. So like and I'm one of those people who is I have like almost no business talking health, because over the years, like I have not been a poster child of
Yeah, you're not
um
exactly there.
clean
You don't
living and
want
healthy eating, but at the same time, it's one of those things where even a few small changes, like just trying to avoid liquid sugar. Like I remember the
yeah.
first time, like I went keto. Who
Mhm.
knows if I did it correctly, but one of the things I did was like stop any beverages with sugar in them whatsoever, any alcohol especially. Like I found one of my favorite drinks, which is tequila and lime juice and a splash of soda, and people are like, that sounds insane, which is a separate conversation. It's not. It's delicious, as long as you're
I've
above
heard
the
good
age of
things.
21,
Yes.
but or 18 in every other country on the planet, but that's also another conversation. But yeah, I mean that, and like it's wild too. Like when you're cutting out carbs,
Yeah.
you can't eat almost anything. Like
Oh yeah.
our whole food system is revolved around sugar in some form, and it's wild because like one thing that blew my mind is like pizza actually has an insane amount of sugar in it, and that's
Yep.
like, pizza is addicting for that reason. It's not even like like the fat or the salt combos. It's actually because it's just freaking full of sugar. And I'm like, oh yeah, because it's bread, it's cheese that is enhanced with sugar, it's sauce that's full of sugar.
Yes.
um 'Cause I mean, especially if when you're using low fat anything, and low fat is like one of the it- it's a precarious position to take, but it's like it's more and more science is coming out that it's literally just the sugar lobby that like essentially was like, because basically your body needs fat more than it
Yes.
needs carbs. And so when you're removing the fat, your body then needs to take the sugar and turn it into fat and then use it that way, which is, it adds an extra step. But yeah, it's wild. Like, and I literally, like, I remember I lost like 15 pounds by just like taking most of the sugars out of my diet. And it's crazy too when remember like having only had like seltzer and water and like really almost nothing with liquid sugar, and then tasting like a San Pellegrino, one of those sodas that I used to like love. And it's like, oh my God, this is disgusting.
Gross.
It was crazy because like having like a Spindrift, one of those like sparkling waters that has like 3 to 5 grams of sugar. I'm like, this tastes amazingly sweet and delicious. And that tastes like someone like made a mistake. Like
Who fucked
and
this up?
yeah, and it kind of, it's a wake up call to your senses, where you like, that's the thing, like that. I think part of it with the food is the fact that people get desensitized as to how ridiculous the food they're actually tasting is.
Oh yeah.
Um, which
And it
is,
and
a lot of people don't give themselves the opportunity to get that cleanse.
right. And as you said, the main issue is sugar. And when I watched a
Yep.
documentary, I forgot one of the Netflix docs. It was the Katie Couric one specifically. I think it was back right before I went to college or senior high school, that changed everything for me, and realizing how much sugar is the ultimate way to gain calories, gain weight. And it just goes straight to it. Just it's there's really no nutritional value whatsoever. And
It's essentially poison, actually.
yeah, and of course, if you do it, I'm not saying take sugar out for good. I mean,
Of course.
if you could, definitely, but it's just so hard. I understand people with coffee and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
you have to really be woke to it and understand the stuff. And it's great that you mentioned that, especially because I've really taken the approaches as much as I can to get rid of sugar as well. Like, I don't drink soda anymore. I only really drink water and alcohol, and that's mostly weekend thing. And it's just paying attention to those, like I love whiskey, but I have to be aware of the molasses level because of the all that sugar that goes there.
Yep.
When you I haven't really tried. Is tequila a very low sugar drink? I just haven't had. I love tequila. I haven't had it a lot, but
Well, with most, especially clear hard liquors, you will have calories, but you won't really have as many carbs because those calories are actually coming from the alcohol itself.
right,
So like vodka, tequila, it will have a calorie content, but that's your body is already like your body is already dealing with those calories by metabolizing the alcohol. Like that's you getting drunk. So like
right,
if you're drinking something and the calories are coming from the alcohol and not sugars or carbs in it, then I'm not a a health expert by any means, but I'm fairly sure with what I've like seen that for the most part, if the calories are coming from the alcohol, your body will be dealing with the alcohol through your liver, therefore it's not really going to be turning that into anything.
right.
But it's when you add like the simple
The,
syrup, the
yeah,
juice,
the mixed drink, no
yeah,
mixed drink
exactly.
whatsoever. That's something I do not touch. I used to
Hmm.
drink Jack and Cokes, and then I wonder why. And also, just sugars are a huge part. If you drink a lot of sugary alcohols, it's more of a chance that you're going to get a hangover.
Oh, for
And a
sure.
lot of people, I've, I mean, I'm not perfect. I can
Yes, you
only,
are, Matt
but
Brown.
I definitely try to be. I can name the amount of times I've been hung over after my change, probably on my hands, on the fingers.
Yep.
It's because I don't drink sugary drinks, no mixed drinks, no cocktails, no no anything. I just drink it straight. And of course, sometimes you overdo it and
Like a
you
boss.
feel it, but it's just like you said, avoiding that sugar and the sodium, especially. Like
Ooh.
for people who sodium is another one. Like if
Yep.
you want to try to be vernacular and like if that's the right word, basically having your veins pop, showing as cool as you are.
Wait,
I don't know if
what
that's
is
the
what's
exact
no,
word.
no, no. The vernacular, I believe, has something to do with um
I think that's the actual English term.
that's yeah, that's for it means like you have the colloquial and the vernacular. Like one of them, I believe. I think that those are synonyms or antonyms or something. What is it?
I'm
What
so
is it?
off of that.
What is no, 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 but it's something. I know what you're trying to say. Like
Like veiny, like for lack of
yeah.
a better word.
Yeah, but there is a word. Yeah, I feel like you were close, and I can't think of the word for that either. But you can call it I got a buddy graduating from med school soon, so maybe he could fill us
Please
in.
confirm. But anyways, it's that sodium, it's that salt. If you got to stay away from salty things because that salt just sucks up. Now, I'm not saying to be veiny. I mean, obviously, people like people who are
Yeah,
veiny, I guess. But it's soaking.
Bane
It's
gang.
it's that salt is sucking up that blood and stuff like that, and it's not good, and it makes you look way more unhealthier. So that's why I try when I eat my chips, I go for Cape Cod chips, lightly
Oh yeah,
salted, low in the sodium. I always try to go anything sodium under 300. I think it goes by milliliters, I believe. Some supplement
milligrams, I believe.
milligrams. Okay, so I
Yeah,
try to get under 300 milligrams if
yeah.
I can. And
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that's one of my so salt and vinegar chips. That's like
had to say
a
goodbye,
huge. It's no, that's like a
Achilles heel.
huge. Yeah, no, I cannot like, and actually uh i I recently found one, and actually I guess it's kind of good because the one that I like a full bag, you open it up and like it's one of those bags of chips where like half of the bag is air. Which, by
Yes,
the way,
yes.
interesting little factoid.
Tell me.
When you're with like people, you get bags of chip. Like everything is packaged with some air in it these days. That's actually not air. That is all usually with most things that are packaged sealed with air inside. It's almost 100% nitrogen, which is
Really?
kind of wild. It's like because you got to think about it. It's like why do my chips that are full of air not go bad until they're accidentally left open? And it's because they're actually filled. There's actually a huge industry for nitrogen in the food industry because it's inert. So like literally
That makes sense now.
the same thing that you would store like literal like elemental sodium in is what you also like they use to store your chips when they're getting shipped to the supermarket.
Look at that. I did
Yeah.
not know that. Well,
Yeah, so
the
the air in the bag is almost always 100% or close to it nitrogen, which is kind of wild. If like most people would never even think about that. Like, what's the air in my bag of Lay's? Like,
psych is
it's like
nitrogen.
you can't breathe that. So like, yeah, if you go if you're trapped underwater with a bunch of bags of chips, don't think you're going to be using the air in your Lay's to breathe.
Indeed, dude. Don't. Dude, yeah, I mean, and this is the last thing regarding health and our weight loss journeys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what was one thing that I've learned too, especially listening to the stomach, is it's really important to eat. Listen, you have to, I think the rule is you eat enough not to be fully full. I'm definitely messing this up, but but you need to eat at a satisfying level, almost be still a little hungry, but not well, no, it's not to be hungry anymore, but you don't want to stuff yourself, basically, is what I'm saying. Just getting enough in that you're good for the rest of your day and night. Or one thing, I used to be really, really bad at eating late night, even
Oh
after
yeah.
having a good day eating.
Yep.
But I realized you have to let your body be hungry for that, because it's going to eat the fat. And hell, look, you lose whatever as many more calories because of that.
Yep. And actually I can share a few stories from this. I got a lot. I did
Yeah.
Uber and Lyft for over a year all over New England. From mid spring 2018 to mid spring 2019. And I remember it was like one of the most profound comments on like health. It's so wild, the things that stick with you that people say. But I remember I was doing it in Rhode Island at the time. I was lucky to have family all over, and I had a few places to stay in outside of Boston and Rhode Island.
Uber everywhere.
And yeah, exactly. That was me. I'm your guy. But I picked up these drunk college kids because I was staying in Narragansett, and so URI, like all the places, the really nice places that people are renting out, like in the summer, that go for ridiculous prices, like a week, are full of drunk college kids most of the year, which blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, it's actually genius, because the people who rent, they never even have to stay in the property. They can buy that.
Yeah.
It's rented out by the college kids during the winter. And then it's rented out at 3 to 5x the price in the summer to tourists. And it's
that
so
pays
funny.
your mortgage for your real homes.
Yeah, it's so funny to imagine like the wonderful innocent families that are like staying in these places, having no idea what might have gone down in
If
some
the
of
walls
these.
could talk.
Yeah, exactly. Just knowing what I've seen, like what we've seen. So, but this kid, it was a couple of guys. They were coming back from a party, and one of the guy's friends was like, "Hey, can you stop at the?" Because there was a Cumberland Farms that's open 24/7. He was like, "Hey, can you stop? I want to get some pizza." Drunk dude. And so he goes in. His other friend, who I believe was on one of the sports teams or whatever, he like we're just talking about like food and stuff. He's going in to get his pizza, and the dude goes, he's like, "Hey, you know what the best thing to eat before bed is?"
Uh-oh.
And
I
I
need
was
to
like,
hear this.
I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Hunger." And I like,
I love
like,
that.
yeah.
I'm
And I was
keeping
like,
that.
for
That's the
some
soundboard.
reason, that has stuck in my head for years. I'm like, that's like, and like, it's that one thing. Like sometimes that motivates me to just like put it down before I go to bed. I'm like, and it's just like some like drunk college kid,
Thank you,
like
drunk college
in the
kid.
middle of the night. But I'm like, that's wild to like to have, but that it's like so few, like it's sometimes the most profound stuff comes in so few words in the most like innocuous of places. And that was like the drunk college kid like changed my view on like health and nutrition
Who
for
would have
like,
thought?
yeah.
I hope he gave you a nice tip and you gave him a nice review.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Wait, yeah, because I really want to stay on the Uber stuff. But do you have anything else regarding that or the health before we can move on?
Well, I mean, like I just, with me, because I've obviously, I struggle with it too, and it is a struggle. You're never gonna know it. Like in the age of Instagram, everyone
Oh yeah.
appears perfect, but most people are far from it, and almost no one is close. So like if anyone's like listening to this, like, and needs motivation, it's just like, never, like, you've only lost when you've quit.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where you can even have a month, 6 months, a year of setbacks. You could even end up beyond where you even started the first time, but it's only too late when you're dead. So
Yeah, that's
just,
so true.
and as with anything, it's not like, with happiness, with health, with success, with relationships, it's not like, it's not an event, it's not a place, it's like a mindset, and it's literally a way of life. So like, being, you have, it's about integrating it to make it part of what you do. It's not like a thing that you get, or a place that you end up. So that's how I would put it.
Absolutely. As long as you're staying active one way, getting that heart pumping,
Oh
it
yeah.
works. And going with your own pace. Don't be intimidated by the meatheads and the people with the big booties and the six packs and all that. As long as you're doing your part for your own body, and if you really stay consistent, it goes a long way. Like, even if
Mhm.
you just run or walk a couple miles 5-6 days a week for 6 months, it will make a difference. You will
Yeah,
notice.
you don't
So
need to do CrossFit. Just walk. That's it. Like,
exactly.
that's it. Just like most people, just walk. Anybody, we all have the tools. And even if you're disabled, you like, just move. Like literally, just get out there, move around, go. Like I know everyone's afraid because of COVID, this and that, but like, everybody can find a place to get outside, and
Absolutely.
stay safe, but get moving. And even if it's inside, like, you like, just like, walk up and down the hallway, like do some sit-ups in your bedroom. Like, actually, yoga is it's wild how stretching,
Yeah.
and like, that's something that I've like started to get into a little bit too. Like, even YouTube you can find, and it's kind of relaxing, actually.
It goes a long way, keeping that body active and killing those calories, and it will come together, and
Yeah,
that's why
but
you and
do
I are gonna keep at it.
do you want to hear some of these
Uber stories.
oh yeah, yep.
Oh yes, let's talk Uber. Let us talk Uber some more.
So, yeah, I got into the Uber game around 2018, and I mean, good Lord, there should be more people out there, like, because I guarantee you, any Uber driver who does it for any amount of time, literally, will all be able to fill multiple podcasts with stories of the things that they see. And
Oh,
I'm
Joe.
sure, so I didn't do it during COVID, so I don't know how things have changed, what that's done, but like, this was like full swing, just like Uber was like hot. Like, I think it was like around the time of actually like before it IPO'd too. So
Yeah.
like, there's, but not that might have to do anything with anything,
But
but
see,
like,
it's at
this
least
this
it's
this
striving in the
but
in
yeah,
the
but
economy.
still, there was hype around it because it's like, oh, they're going to go public, blah blah blah.
Right.
But I will say, and I, like, as a former employee, I don't even, I'm a contractor, so I'm fairly, and I don't work for either of them anymore, so I can say whatever the hell I want. But I will say, Lyft made me feel like a human being, and Uber literally made me feel like they tattooed a fucking barcode on the back of my neck.
Really?
Like,
Please walk me through why that's the
so
case.
that's actually like an interesting like point that I will put out there. Um, when dealing with both of the companies, because I worked for both Uber and Lyft, I obviously had my frustrations with both of the companies, but whenever I had to really deal with like people, reach out, that kind of stuff, Uber always did a great job of making me feel like I didn't mean shit to them, and Lyft did a great job at like actually making me feel like I was being listened to and feel like I was a person that they valued that worked for their company, and I wasn't
That means a
just
lot.
like an object that did things within their wheels. Because like, I remember the thing that really like outlined this for me is I was trying to figure out how to be able to do it in multiple states, because I was like, or at least do it in Rhode Island, because I had a reliable place to stay in Rhode Island, and I was like, I was approaching the summer, and I'm like, well, obviously, like I have access to be able to do this in like the mega vacation location in the Newport Narragansett area. I want to switch my location because I started off in Connecticut.
Yep.
So I was actually able to find like an Uber hub in Providence, and holy hell, do they do a great job of like making it like almost it's like it's a game. It's like an Easter egg hunt. Like they hide these places. I don't understand why, because it literally, like, they picked a building in the parking lot of a supermarket, but the building, the front of it faces the inside of the parking lot. It doesn't even face the street. And then like they have like one tiny little sign in the window, and it's just like why do I have to like search for this like it's a secret like FBI like safe house? Like this, like you guys are like not making this easy. And like you go in there, like there's no music, there's no ambiance, like it's a silent room, like there's a desk in the front, like you check in, like no one is smiling, there is no humor. You like and
it's
like
just like a bland room,
so,
just with
it's literally a blank room. There's like no decoration, like it's like it's like minimalist to the point of like sterility. It's fucking
like office space type stuff.
It's almost upsetting. It's like why does this feel like a doctor's office?
And this is the app change making everybody move all over the place.
Oh yeah, and then like they're like down to business. Like, what are you here for? And then they make you sit in a waiting room in the middle, and there's like nobody in there. It's like, why am I waiting to talk to another person? Like just. So through them, I actually found out that Lyft had I didn't think they had an in-person hub. So Lyft's is in the mall, the huge Providence Mall, like with a giant pink banner, like in the middle of the mall. Mm-hmm. This really nice woman like was like so eager to help me, and it was like one of those things where that felt conversational, and like the situation with Uber was like, I was like, am I a robot? Like, am I coming in for for them to oil my gears? Like, this is ridiculous. But also the turnover time, I didn't get it, because like for what I wanted to do, Uber was like, yeah, we're gonna have to take you offline. We're gonna have to wait, up to 2 weeks. Like, you can't drive while we're getting you changed over. Lyft, literally, she was like, oh yeah, you can keep driving, and you should be done by the end of the day. They literally did the exact same thing with Lyft in less than 24 hours, less than 6 hours, actually.
Just to get that approval to go from state to state.
And I'm like, you guys are the same business. Like, why is it so much more restrictive with Uber than with Lyft? I feel like it comes down to the bureaucracy within the company more than it does any sort of restrictions. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big Lyft fan, and I will always use Lyft before Uber for that reason, because when I did it, I talked to drivers about this too, and across the board, the drivers that do both will inevitably always end up agreeing, like, oh yeah, Lyft is so much easier to deal with than Uber.
Simply to revolve around this again, it's pretty much Lyft treats their employees better than Uber. Did you think do you know if there's a certain reason why? Is it because of
I think it's I'm sorry to cut you off. I just think it's because Uber's bigger, and yeah. they just know that, like, when you have more access to the capital of popularity, it's kind of like,
and when Uber's an actual word in our
vocabulary, like it's one of those things like Kleenex, like the name of it is a tissue, but we call it, like a lot of people call them Kleenex. It's the same thing. Like, I need to get an Uber. It's not like I need to hail a digital taxi. It's like I need to we need to Uber somewhere. So they've become actually, that's what it is, vernacular. The Uber has become the vernacular for a ride hailing service. So circle that around. But yeah, I mean, and so that, like, that's just my 2 cents on the thing. But yeah, as far as like interactions go,
can I just say just one thing?
Yeah.
One, Yeah, because we have to do a lot of podcasts. I'm really enjoying this. I just want to say we still have plenty of time. This isn't the end or anything. I just want to throw that out there right now. Like, if you want to come on the regular, man, I would love it.
Yeah, I would definitely enjoy being a
Yes.
regular guest on productive conversations. Some of them might
Yes.
not be so productive, but
Oh, we're all, as long as we're talking, it's productive, man. As long as we're talking. And I bring it up because I just love your energy, your vibes, and your stories, man. You're just one of my favorite guests already, and we're half an hour in. I just have to say that right now,
boom,
man. So,
boom.
I mean, I can't wait to keep doing this. I really can't. Next, you know what's funny? I'll never forget, you know, with the ride sharing that really has changed our world forever.
Mhm.
And and you know, it is just too bad for the taxi companies who are struggling because people could just get it from their phones, especially if you're not in a major city taxi either. It's tough, but I mean, in general, it is a way to get people jobs. It is a way to keep people afoot, and all great stories. That's why I like the ride sharing industry. And I remember I actually learned of Lyft first before Uber, and I'll never forget this. This was like, again, either senior year of high school or junior high school. Was Conan O'Brien did this bit with Ice Cube and Kevin Hart on YouTube. Highly recommend. Where they just was with a Lyft driver for the day, and I guess this was very brand spanking new of the service.
That
And
was
who would
probably
have
when
thought?
they still had the mustache, right, as their logo. A lot
Yeah,
of
they
people
did, and
remember that.
the car
Yeah,
had the actual
the
mustache.
the pink mustache. Yeah,
Yeah, the guy actually had the mustache on his car, on his
yeah.
headlights.
Like that's like a nice age check. Like, do you remember Lyft when it had the pink mustache?
Right. And when I heard of Uber, was one of my early Uber. I used to follow this. I still do this Twitter. This Twitter page called Uber Facts. So I just saw this Lyft. It was just so funny. They just got this random Lyft driver in Los Angeles, and now we're talking about it. Look how far it's come. So I just want to throw that out there. But let us definitely talk about Uber and Lyft interactions, Joe. What are some of the craziest, most fun stories that come to mind off the bat?
One of the first that I remember, like, that sticks out, and this was when I was still doing it in Connecticut. This was like a late night ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this younger girl in her 20s, you know, tiny, like very petite. But she was like, she made it very clear that, you know, that she was a lesbian and that she was going to meet up with the girl that was not her girlfriend. They were not dating.
So she
And
said this
she
off
was,
the bat. I just want to
yeah,
let you know that I like girls.
like within the first 5 minutes, like, you know, she's wearing jeans and a white t-shirt, and I'm like, I probably could have picked up on it. Not that I, like, you know, assume anything about anybody,
Yep.
but, you know, and so she's going on. She's obviously drunk. It's like, what, 2:30 in the morning. So we know what this is. It's a booty call. It's okay, hon.
Yeah.
And but so it's interesting because I ended up I started off driving a BMW. I got a great deal on the 328i. So ended up having a few issues with it, trading that in, and I'm in a Jeep now, which I love. But so I need to frame this because this is a BMW, like a 328i, tiny, like tiny little sedan. And so this chick is in the back seat. Now, obviously, this is 2018. This is pre-COVID, far pre-COVID. And like she's all hype. She's excited. She's super nice, but to the point of, like,
I'm going.
To the point of being like, oh my God, like, is this girl drunk or doing other stuff too?
Yeah.
And so at one point she's like I feel bad that I, like, sat in the back seat. I feel like this is super disrespectful. I'm like, no, it's good. Like, most people sit in the back. Like, you're good. This chick, I'm on the highway. She unbuckles her seatbelt, crawls forward through the area of the center console while I'm on the highway, while I'm driving. Yeah, I'm not even at a light. Sits in the front passenger seat, like, literally crawls forward, like, yeah, sorry, I feel more comfortable up here now. And like at the same time that she's, like, you know, making it, like, known that she's a lesbian and blah blah blah, she's also like literally just, like, pumping me full of compliments too, like telling me that I'm handsome, blah blah blah, like I gotta find a nice girl, all this stuff. I got the question too that I get a lot and I'm used to, that, like, I'd say about 60% of people will or have just like, if not directly just assumed I'm gay, like at least maybe asked or been like, oh, you're not, like, so she, and it actually tends to happen more with lesbians for some reason. I don't
Mhm.
know why. I don't know if
Yes.
correlation equals causation, but yeah, I mean, I grew up doing musical theater, around a lot of women, gay guys, and I just became comfortable with just expressing emotion. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of a little bitch. I'm a little bit emotional, so as well.
You're not a
So
bitch, Joe.
I'm a crybaby. But no, but yeah, like, so I literally like, I couldn't believe, I was like, this girl is climbing in my car on the
Yeah.
freaking highway. And so, we get to where we're going, and she gets out, and like she's like, thank you so much, blah blah blah. But the late night booty like, I was expecting it to just be a funny story because this girl's like, trying to convince herself more than me probably that this was not a late night booty call. But
Yeah, I'm just visiting my friend at 2:30 in
yeah,
the morning.
yeah.
Can I ask you though, Joe, on
Hmm.
behalf of like the Lyft and Uber driver community, when you get a single person between the hours of, let's say, midnight and 4 a.m., do you like know? Because I will say, I'm giving, I guess, the story. So I had one time, it's right before the pandemic. I was hanging out with somebody. She stayed over and she left my place at like 4 in the morning, and I'm just Ubering, right? And I'm just wondering, like, what does this driver do and pulled up this residential house and leaving at 4 a.m.? I would just always wonder, what is the Uber driver thinking in their head? But she made it home safe and stuff. But like, I've just always wondered, in any case, like, are you just like wink wink nudge nudge between when you drive single people by themselves between like midnight and 4 a.m., 5 a.m.?
It's interesting because um the thing about driving Uber is, especially in the city areas, you're most reliably going to be getting rides at those times. So you
Right.
literally never know what you're going to get. I mean,
That's
especially
another thing too. Like, if you don't mind me interrupt, I'm
oh
sorry,
yeah,
brother. But
no.
like, before you actually pick someone up, do you know like this person is going to 28th Street, or this person's going to Blue Avenue?
So
Do you know like right away?
this is another interesting thing. I don't know, at least when I was doing it, I don't know if this has changed, but you only get a notification, usually of the person's name, and like, I think I'm trying to remember if it would tell you like around how much. I don't think you really get, I don't know if it would let you know. I think it might let you know like the surge pricing, like if you would get anything additional, but I don't think you really know anything about how much you're going to make or where they're going until literally you get there and start the trip. So that's kind of a wild thing that I like. It's like,
Right.
why can't you give me like a general area of where I'm going to be going? Like, occasionally, like if it's like a long trip, like they had some rules of like, a metric of like, this is like a long distance kind of thing. Because sometimes, like, I've had trips where I've taken people like across state lines, like 2 hours plus in the car. Um, but I only did those a couple times. Those never end up being worth it. Um, but I yeah, you really don't know anything until that ride begins with that person in the car. It's
Oh,
crazy.
how about that, man? How about that? Joe, can you just give me 1 second? I
Sure,
just have
yeah.
to take care of one thing. Man, we appreciate people like you and all the Uber drivers who make our lives possible despite the intense interactions, but always good stories. Do you have any other intense stories to add on?
Well, this one, in the intermission, I was able to think about this one. So this was just a wild, like, just there's like layers of ridiculousness um to this. So this was also in Narragansett over the summer, and I broke protocol a little bit on this one because I fit lots of young ladies into my vehicle, and this
Mhm.
was still, I believe, um the BMW at the time, so it was tiny. and it was a bachelorette party.
Oh my God. We're having so much fun.
And literally, like, they get in. I'm taking them to George's, which is like the hot spot, like a really fun bar.
We're gonna get so drunk.
Yeah. And so literally on the way, they're like, "Oh, you need to, like, you're hilarious. You're so much fun. You need to come in. You need to come in with you need to come hang out with us at the bar." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like what?"
I'm
I'm like, I'm
definitely
like, I'm working, but like I might have to just do it for the vine because this is like literally a bachelorette party. And I also was doing this under the auspices of possibly
I
going back
love
on the
it.
clock or possibly, like, bringing them back home afterwards. So I didn't drink when I went, but I was like so on the fence, and then like last minute I'm like, oh, you know what, I'll do it. I'm coming in. So I went offline, and like they're all getting drunk, like doing what gals do on a bachelorette weekend. And we're talking, and um so come to find out, the bride to be is a freaking they're these some of these girls are from Connecticut, and the bride to be is my brother's coworker.
Oh my God.
I had literally no idea until like an hour or two into it. And like it was just like unbelievable levels of coincidence. But yeah, so like I literally like got invited to hang out with like a full bachelorette party,
Now that's
and
cool.
ended up back at their I'm gonna be honest, a bachelorette pad does not look that dissimilar from a bachelor pad.
Oh
On one of those
goodness.
weekends there was snacks but it was like organized chaos. Like
Organized chaos. That's what
they
I
like
love.
they like set up their own little photo booth area with like streamers and stuff. They had snacks everywhere, but there was like some semblance to like an organization about them. Like it was almost like they had like a buffet.
Mhm.
um and yeah, I couldn't, like, it's just some of the stuff that like happens. It's like the levels of coincidence on that happen in life sometimes. It's just like, what are the odds
Yeah.
that I'm doing Uber and Lyft in a certain area, get invited to hang out with this bachelorette party, and then the bride is like, works a few desks down from my brother in Connecticut.
Well,
um
shit.
so I couldn't, that was just like, just it's surreal sometimes, that those sort of coincidences. But I'm trying to think of some other like wild, like late night stuff.
The wild late
um
night stuff.
oh, for sure I facilitated a drug deal. I mean, it was weed.
Huh.
So it
Okay.
was it was weed, and it was a couple. It was funny because it was a couple too, but I definitely
Tell me
100%.
how that unfolded.
So this was funny because it was like, so you could actually like request a trip that has multiple stops. So they actually, their first stop was the plug's apartment, and then their second stop was back home. And actually, like, I afforded them a little pit stop at the the shop to get some I'm assuming papers or blunt wrap or something like that.
Yep.
But this was in the Providence area, and literally it's a guy, probably late 20s, early 30s, uh, guy and a gal getting the back. And I kind of figured it out like when he got back in, and I was like, what? So that was another thing. I had to come up with a way of also like broaching the subject of like, I smell weed without saying I smell weed. It's like
Mhm.
those TikToks, like tell me you smell weed on me without telling me you smell weed on me.
The
Or
funniest
saying
weed
it.
smelling quick. One time, one time, my brother's. It wasn't my brother, but his friends when he was with. They went to do like this something at the old elementary school, right? And they came like when they were in high school, and then they smoked weed. And long story short, my old gym teacher, I want to say his name, but I'd love to have him on the podcast. But the old gym teacher just simply was like, You guys smell good. This is the gym teacher. But anyways, you know,
So
uh,
one of my favorites, if it's a guy, is like, oh, I like your cologne. Um, and another one, my one of my go-tos was like, oh, like you just buy some flowers. Those smell pretty good, or
hey,
something along those
no
lines.
doubts.
But yeah, just a way to like broach the subject and like not, because like, you know, some people that you're dealing with strangers 99% of the time. um Actually, I had a situation where I ran into somebody from Theta Chi in Boston. There
Theta
was
Chi fraternity for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah. So I actually, it's funny because I actually got a call. I think it might have been from Cam Riccio.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't, he was so drunk. He could not reliably tell me where the hell he was. And I had to cancel the freaking ride. So I didn't know it was
Oh,
them at first. So then I get another call, same area, different guy. This was an alumni. I hadn't met him before. But then we start talking, and I find out that there were some Theta Chi brothers like like having drinks at this bar that
in
evening
Boston.
in Boston. And literally I had just missed, like, that was Cam trying to like drunkenly like figure out where the heck I was and vice versa. So that was enough, like that's what I'm saying, why 99% of the time, like, it's not somebody, you know, that you know, but like you do occasionally get those like at least tertiary levels of like, oh my god, like I if I don't know you, I should.
How
um
about that?
yeah. So but yeah, it's just like so funny that like some people literally like will use the service to go grab weed.
I gotta go out here. I go out here. Switching up some things, Joe. Talk to me about your content creation and your music creation, whether
Okay.
it's from the videos you make, your TikToks, like we mentioned, your music or SoundCloud. Tell me about what you've been up to in terms of content creation and where exactly we can find the great work you're producing.
So yeah, just as a shameless self plug,
No shameless plugs in the
I'm
productive conversations.
I'm at Yo Yankus. That's YOJANKUS on almost all social media. On TikTok, you can throw a little 69 at the end, and that's just because that's my astrological sign. I am a Cancer.
Look at that.
No relation to the just absolute memery of that number these days, but yeah. So obviously, as you know, but many people probably listening to this won't. I am my main focus. I'm a musician and
Alumni of the great Berkeley School of Music.
entertainer. Yes, and actually, since um, I've seen you, I actually am now alumni of Connecticut School of Broadcasting and Full Sail as well.
That's why I knew
Uh,
this would work
uh,
and continue to work. That's awesome. Congratulations
yeah.
on that.
And actually I was really proud of myself with Full Sail because I actually struggled a lot with music theory when I was at Berkeley, but I also have a learning disability.
Mhm.
And I have ADHD and dysgraphia, which not a lot of everyone's heard of dyslexia for the most part, but there's a lot more than just like the standard like disabilities and ADHD, and there's usually when you have one, there's a few other layers to it as well. So that basically means that it's kind of the opposite of dyslexia, where instead of like the intake of information is hard, it's the the physical exodus of the information, if
Mhm.
you will. So like writing, like handwriting, my handwriting's always been really bad. Like up till a few years ago, like this is an interesting one to point out. So it's kind of like it sort of, you kind of get jammed up with the like, especially writing or physically sort of especially small manipulation or like physical puzzles or things that require sort of like the physical output of a mental state. So like up until a few years ago, it could take me like 5 minutes, which, you know, doesn't sound like that much time, but like everyone realizes how long 5 minutes is when they have to be on hold for 5 minutes. And like that
Oh
would
yeah.
be the amount of time it would take me to write a check or like address an envelope. So when I went to Berkeley, it was very difficult because this was like I started there in 2009. So there wasn't a lot of this technical I don't know, the technical integration with the learning yet. It was getting there, but everything was written for the most part with music theory. And when I went to Full Sail, it was mostly an online program, and most of what I was doing was actually through my computer, which has always been a great way for me to kind of bypass that learning disability. And I literally got like an A in the class, and it was something that I
That's
really
amazing.
really
So
struggled with at Berkeley. And I'm like, oh, so it wasn't that I couldn't, it's that it was not the right medium. So that was like a very big sort of confidence boosting thing. And since then I have been writing music. Every year I'm coming out, like it's funny because I actually haven't released a lot, at least publicly recently, but there is stuff out there. And I keep the old stuff up because while production quality and style sort of increases over time, I kind of like keeping that out there because you can kind of see a progression. It's I feel like it's more honest about your progression as an artist to have like I see the stuff floating around of like one of Post Malone's original songs, and
mhm.
it's just like it's like Tim and Eric like level. It's almost like it's like a joke. Like
Yeah.
it's like a fake music video, like John LaJoie, like show me your genitals style. But I think it's important to keep that kind of stuff out there, to keep people in reality. Like there is no such thing as an overnight success, just an overnight sensation.
Yep.
Um, but I have a few projects in the works.
Tell us about him.
I have an artist that I'm working with named Audemars, who's out of Hartford, and he is phenomenal. Check him out on YouTube.
And it's Audemars. How do you
Yeah,
spell it?
Audamars.
Check out
And
Audemars.
he's an amazing rapper here out of Hartford. I actually just had him over for a meeting a couple weeks ago, and he already has instrumentals. We're planning a studio session soon. Um, I have a nice little functional studio in my apartment here in West Hartford. But so I mean, literally, it's funny too, because when you work with other musicians, like it's great to be able to work in your own space, but it's like it's very interesting to have another musician's perspective, because like the end, like 8 bars of this full song that I had written, he hears that and he's like, I want that. He's like, make that. He's like, loop that. uh, You know, put a few altercations here, or alterations here and there, like basically just spice it up. But he's like, just loop that. That's the beat. That's the beat that I want. And I'm like, oh my God, like of course, like, and it's so like, because minimalistic uh instrumentals are actually becoming more and more the thing. Like it's funny because
In what sense?
if you like comparing sort of like like an EDM song, or like a house music song where you're getting layer after layer after layer,
Mhm.
multiple harmonies, melodies, arpeggios, or like a symphony where you have many moving parts, many moving pieces. But if you it's a lot of people don't do this, or I don't know, especially now with everyone like wanting instrumentals to do their own music and stuff. But listen to just the instrumental of a popular song that you like,
Mhm.
and it's almost like the concept of like a liminal space. I don't know if you know what liminal spaces are, but they're kind of like these
I'm
very
not
weird.
familiar with it.
So liminal space is sort of a great example of this is like the background of a Lego set, like the pieces. Like if you take all of the Legos out of that and look at like the background, it has like this weird, eerie, like emptiness. Like it
Mhm.
has all of the hallmarks of something that's like a real space, like a physical space, but there's a weird emptiness to it. So like it's kind of the same thing with a familiar instrumental. Like if you listen to it without like the lyrics, or and the music, like the main musician behind it, um it's wild how different that sounds. And
Right.
it's very interesting, like and when working with other musicians, like they like they will inevitably be hearing something that didn't ever come to mind, to because like when you're working in your own space, especially with your own stuff, you tend to focus in on very different things than some, especially when when it's not they're like, if it's something that's completely fresh to them. It's amazing the things that the creative things that can come out of that. So that was something that I was like, oh my God, like, of course, yeah, you can like there's so many projects that you can literally chop up and make an entire that's the whole art of remixing and
Mm-hmm.
and and stuff like that. Because like, how many times have people taken like a one like 8 bar, 4 bar, 16 bar section of a song, and now that's an entirely new song because
Yeah,
of
right.
they've grown out of that. Or like
And
somebody,
you
one of my,
could do it easier. And I'm sorry
yeah,
to interrupt. You were saying?
oh no, no, no. Well, one of my favorite artists, Sick Kick, does
Mhm.
this, and he can do this live where he chops up an entire like multiple songs from an entire artist and then adds in his own song in the middle of it, which is just, he's insanely talented. um but I'm really excited to be working on a couple of these projects. Can you give me 1 second? I actually got to take a quick bathroom break. Can
Yes.
we pause this for a bit? Sorry.
We'll be right back with Joe Yankus now. So, and yeah,
Yeah,
so
sorry. Also, I realize how absurd that looks, but like, I am like, maybe it's because I'm almost 30, but like, I've been experiencing recently that like it's not like a gradual like, oh, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom soon. It's like uh always an emergency immediately. Like, it's just like no warning. It's like, oh, you need to find a bathroom in the next 2 minutes, or you're toasted.
no worries, man. We're glad you're back here and safe and moving. But yeah, with music production now, it's way more accessible, and so many more. Even though, of course, talent is key, most of all, to get its recognition and to create its brand and separate itself from other creators like that. But it is fascinating what people can creatively come up with throughout the years now. And I watched the Bee Gees documentary on HBO Max. It's really great. I saw how
Hmm.
they came up with Saturday Night. They came up with the song "Staying Alive," and they just took a 8 bar track from their, I believe it was the song Saturday Night Fever, the song,
Hmm.
I believe. Yeah, it's one of their big ones. If you don't mind me looking it up, it's uh, it's it's the song Night Fever, not Saturday
Hmm.
Night Fever, just Night Fever. And then they just do all these doohickeys, but they had to like physically take it off the record. And you can't. This is in the '70s. They can't put it in through Pro Tools or anything like that. So and I think they used something like to cut like a blade to cut up the record itself, and then
Oh yeah,
you know
like the term cuts, like in music and
and
video
film.
editing, literally come from the fact that you would have to, when editing in the past, cut the physical tape
It's so
to
fascinating how far we've come.
make those edits.
Yeah,
um
and it's just so fascinating, I think, what they did with it. Huh? I can even send you the small clip of it. It's so cool. But on top of the music production, what else have you been up to in terms of content creation?
Oh yeah. So one of my best buddies in the area, who is also like an artist that I really really respect, especially around hip hop and especially dance, is my buddy Terrace, aka Pop, or B-boy Pop Tart. And he's been running the Trinity Hip Hop Festival for years now, and he is an amazing breakdancer. And this dude is in his 30s, and like, it can move like a spider. Like this
Yeah.
dude he's like in the category of like flexible b-boys. And I've always loved dance too, and that's like another way that like helps me to get the weight off too, is like one of a great way to lose weight fast is to move for fun and not for like any particular goal. Like
Hmm.
when it feels less like work and more like pleasure, it's a lot easier to like burn those calories. But this dude is he's phenomenal. And I want to get more into like a little bit more professional video production, as far as music videos, dance videos, just creative stuff. And he's been doing that for a while too, and has been getting more and more into that, especially on the editing side too, which is good because that's not one of my main strengths. But he, we're always thinking of ways to collaborate on stuff like that, and he has access to an amazing network of dancers, which is
Look at that.
an interesting facet, and sort of like an under I'd say maybe under discussed or really underrepresented facet of the entertainment industry, because a lot of music videos involve dancers dancing. Dance is becoming, especially like I hesitate to call a lot of these real dances, but TikTok has made like little dances, choreography, and there are really good talented dancers on
Oh
TikTok
yeah.
too. Don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things where that it's just finally it's 2021 coming to the forefront. Like, yeah, we do have these shows like Dancing with the Stars, and I mean, Terrace actually was on the
So you
first
think you can
season
dance?
of America's Next Best Dance Crew.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's still one of those things where you'll find people talking about television shows, movies, music, but you won't really find a lot of people, unless they're sort of in the industry or industry adjacent, talking about dancers or trends in dance. And like, it's one of those things where breakdancing is not as underground as you might think anymore.
I have
It's
seen
just
more of a push for it.
it's just, I mean, I
Again, like,
believe it's actually becoming a part of the Olympics soon. It is literally going
yeah,
to.
it
And
is.
my buddy actually was very much a part of the push to get that integrated into the Olympics in the proper way. Because I know one of the issues that they had originally was the judging, because there is a very specific way that your breakdance, especially battles, get judged, and they wanted to like kind of have like more control over the picking of the judges. And the issue is that they wanted to like include judges that historically were not part of that scene.
Mhm.
And it's kind of one of those things where they I, like don't take all this with a grain of salt, because this is sort of like in the jumbling around the back of my memory. But I know that like he was saying like one of the issues was like we have to figure out a way to like make it so that this is like an authentic experience as far as the judging of these battles and stuff
Yeah.
go. Because imagine how many more people would start tuning into the Olympics for the breakdance battle portion of that. Because like he's been sponsored by Monster, been sponsored by Red Bull, and like the Red Bull BC1. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, but like
Is this a
Google it.
dance competition?
This is an international breakdance battle competition, which these are some of the most insane athletes in the entire world.
Mhm.
Like these guys are doing the Olympics every month, every week, and like the things that you see at some of these breakdancing competitions looks literally physically impossible.
You're right.
It's like
It
Crouching
does.
Tiger, Hidden Dragon IRL. It's like it's like, am I watching the Matrix, or is this like human beings? Like
It got the juice.
I just can't. It's unimaginable to see the things that people do and being like, oh, a human body like was able to train to pull that off. So but yeah, so that like getting that's another huge thing that I like. The dance aspect of entertainment is just, it's so wild, like
It really is.
all of the different stuff, especially breakdancing, because that's something that's kind of, it's almost a little bit esoteric and on the fringes still. And it'd be really cool to see that become more of a and like it's interesting too, because ESPN, like major like sports broadcasting companies still haven't really picked this up in the way that I feel like they should have, because
Do you
this
think
could,
they will
I
eventually?
hope they will, because I feel like coverage of this could be on par with like UFC. Like you could now, I don't know if they have started doing this, but I mean you could probably have a pay-per-view event I feel like you could get like pay-per-views that could rival like a McGregor pay-per-view for a breakdancing competition, if this is like marketed properly, and like that it's given the attention it deserves. But yeah, I mean, I just like, I love all aspects, like music, entertainment, that like, especially when it comes to stuff that like, I always love music that makes me want to move. And that's
Definitely.
like one of my biggest
Dance
things.
like no one's watching, and so many people have missed the bars aspect of dance bars.
Hmm.
Hopefully they make come back in the summer or at least the fall. And yeah, it's just giving your body a chance to really express
Yeah,
itself. And you know,
just going to wiggle.
right. And I feel that with the rise of TikTok, it's amazing what some of these TikToks can do with people with all ages. Maybe that will be one of the big contributing factors. I mean, isn't the Charlie D'Amelio the biggest star out of TikTok, a dancer? So,
Oh yeah.
like, I feel that could really make a push for that. Seeing how it will all come together in the Olympics, and it's gonna be fun. It's got my support for it, and I used to be behind. I've seen dance auditions before, and I've seen how that all works, and it is another way of storytelling, most of all.
Oh yeah. Um, but I definitely also look forward to collaborating with you on some because I also have a few podcast ideas in the works right now as well, and it's just been a matter of getting organized and getting situated.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm your guy for that for
oh
sure.
yeah, oh yeah.
It as in like, yeah, whether you want to start a podcast or have a you know, yeah, like I said, whether you rather start a podcast audioly, visually, or both,
Hmm.
I'm your guy if you need help with that. So
Oh, for sure.
on top of just being a constant guest on this show, of course, as long as you could be
For
part of that
sure.
too.
Yeah.
And
It's funny because Zoom actually solved an interesting issue of how to reliably. Because one of the things is like, I'm like, how would I logistically set up to do a podcast with guests remotely? Because that's something like there are
oh,
people that I would like to do stuff with, and I'm like, I didn't really think like 3 4 years ago when I was first considering some of this, like Zoom might have been there, but like I didn't realize that like that could be the tool to use to do that.
game
And
changer, Joe, game changer.
yeah, so it's one of those things where COVID has solved a lot of it's caused problems, but it's also brought solutions to problems that like were barely even related.
Dude, I mean the for not only this show with podcasts, I mean, and if you see the first like it was the first 10 podcasts, 8 of them were in person. I have cameras and I have that aspect ready for to show off the studio.
Hmm.
But when COVID cases really spiked again in Thanksgiving and holiday times, it just wasn't feasible. So because of this, I am able to have any guests I want. I've
Yeah.
done guests in other countries. The one right before, my great friend Aaron Kelly's in Iceland, and we did a show. I've done a lot of Los Angeles ones, and all over.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Shout out
Yes,
Bradley
whether
Finns.
Bradley Finns and the Danny Lynches and my
You've
friends,
done
other friends in LA,
have you
Johnny
you
Cabrera.
gotten Sam on here yet?
No, Sam is not coming on anytime soon. He has declined. I
uh
personally think, and I've told him that he's too scared to come on. And I've had people. All right, scared is the. How do I say this? Scared is a
he's
blunt
just
word, but
yeah,
I don't think he's
he's
comfortable
not
to come on.
yeah, yeah.
He's the best person to hang out in person, so I'll just take that. So I won't hold it against him. He told me I'll be on your very last one. I said fine. I'll wait 80 years to do that. But Sam just doesn't want to come on, and I've been asked many times for that. He just doesn't want to come on, and as much I've
Maybe
tried
we
my
could get him
best.
on in like a joint session, so it's not just him. Like get
I
him
trust
and
me. I
me,
hope Sam is my
or
dream
something like
guest.
that.
I want Sam on so bad. Sam is my. I have
Sam is definitely a dream guest.
Yes, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. Who knows where life goes? I always nag him about it. I will always nag him, but I just don't think he's comfortable to come on. And that's the case with
That's
some
fair.
people. They just don't want to come on camera and talk. I will never understand that, but I'll respect people's wishes for
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I'm not able to book Sam anytime soon, but I am on it, and I will be on it as long as I breathe. And if I will take him up on his offer on my very last one, then fine. We will set that up 80 years from now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no Sam. But I would say out of 10 guests I asked, I could get 8 of them to come on. So it's good. And the only
Yeah.
reason why I've been told no, at least they told me, is because some people just don't want to feel comfortable being on camera or talk in front of a mic. So whatever, I may not understand it, but I'm also someone who loves to be in front of camera and talk. I'm a
Oh yeah.
that type of breed. Luckily for you for that, but I will just respect people's wishes there. But I do think they're missing out. I will say that. And there have been people who were on the fence I was luckily able to convince to come on, and they were really happy to say. So it's not going to hurt you, and it's just your way of to enhance yourself and stay productive that way.
Of course.
So yeah, Sam is definitely top 5 dream guests of all time, and that even including there's celebrities on that list, but Sam will for sure stay on that. So
Oh yeah. I mean, Sam is a somewhat of a celebrity in his own right, anyway. So,
right,
um,
and
you know what? I kind of stand by this, but I don't think you need to be famous to be a celebrity.
no, absolutely not. I I I've learned that from Reddit AMAs, and I've learned that from all the podcasts, all the podcasts I listen to all over. And
Oh man, speaking of Reddit, if you want an infinite content for podcasts,
front page of the internet,
oh my god, yeah. Um,
absolutely, man. I love that website so much. And yeah, but like I said, mostly when it comes to booking these guests, I get 8 out of 10 usually. So I
awesome.
mean, like you're number 60. So on there, so I think out of these 60 shows, there's been 60 like 5 different guests. So, and we're gonna just
Hmm.
keep going for it. And now that I am starting to bring back certain people as recurring guests now. And just seriously, Joe, I can't talk about how excited I am to have you on, because you're the perfect podcast guest. And I'm still very new into this, but 6 months in, when I have a guest like you telling stories, being themselves, you can't ask for anything better. I'm sure
Oh
anyone who
yeah.
runs a podcast would have.
I'm very excited because this is really the first real podcast I've been a part of. So you're my breaking story. You're my foray into the world of podcasting, and I
Well,
wouldn't have it any other way.
trust me, it's my pleasure. And we thank Zoom and to make it possible. So it's just been, though this podcast is made for me to show my creativity and also just enhance my candidacy for jobs, this podcast isn't going away when I um work regularly again. And
Yeah.
it's turned into such a fulfilling
And
journey with
I
it.
feel like you could get sponsorships
Oh
too.
yes, I am in the works for that. I still need some more time. Like I think after the podcast hits a year to show its legitimacy and
Hmm.
consistency, then we can do that. But
And
numbers wise, it's there.
we should talk off the air too, because I have a buddy. We didn't get into this, but we can get into this, talk about some stuff related to this maybe next time I'm on. But I have a buddy who is affiliated with Sony. He's a huge promo guy as far as music and media goes, so he's definitely somebody I could talk to about promo. And because the first thing that sponsors want to see is numbers. So I
Yes.
mean, he is the promo guy. He, when he was first breaking into the industry, he was working with like Maroon 5 when they were
Look at that.
like an unknown like jam band. So he is constantly, he's the promo guy. He's always been.
Oh,
And he
please
has
put in a good
access.
word.
Oh yeah, so that's another thing.
And
um
what's cool with this whole archive and especially the launch of the website is, I think, the extra thing that'll show advertisers that this is legit. Like what's crazy, Joe, is since I started this podcast 6 months ago, I've been on other podcasts and I've had other podcast guests on,
mhm.
and none of them are podcasts anymore. Like
Wow.
a lot of them, I think podcasts are great, but you do have to put
Mhm.
a lot of work into it. It's more than
Yep.
just you and me talking, especially
Yeah,
the
of
editing
course.
aspect.
Hmm.
And if you've seen this show grow, if you've seen my mic has enhanced, getting a pop filter has changed my life so
Yeah.
much more. Showing this guest and showing off this studio and buying more, investing more into Zooms. It's more that I think people realize there was always that joke, everyone has a podcast, but not everyone has
Hmm.
a good podcast and a consistent one. Now, the podcasts I have been on, they've all been good. The only one still out there moving is Word for Word, and I love those
Hmm.
guys. But the other ones who I've had, I haven't seen them make stuff. I know for one's done, and I think it's just, especially a lot of people did this as a thing to get through COVID, and now that we are at the tail end of it, they're just going back to their lives, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But, this is something I take extremely seriously. And though I pursue a career TV production, there's
Mhm.
no doubt I want to pursue this as well.
Oh
You
yeah.
could do both. You seen Brian
Well,
Koppelman,
that's
the
the thing
many
about
celebrities.
entertainment. That's the thing about entertainment. I sorry to cut you off, but like I don't think anybody obviously if you have a focus, if you just want to be a dancer, like not obviously not just a dancer, but if you want to be a dancer, a singer, that's your focus, that's great. But there's also a specific class of entertainer that is just that, an entertainer. If you look at the world of like podcasting, you have Joe Rogan who does, podcasting, UFC.
Yep.
He's a stand-up comedian. Like
Yep.
you have
That's what
guys,
I see
you have
myself as
guys like
being.
Jamie Foxx. Like a chart-topping musician. He is
Oscar
a
winning actor.
yeah, exactly. And you have these guys that and men and women alike and people of all sorts that literally become they just it's entertainment, and it's because they just recognize their talent and allow that to be harnessed in any possible way. And I think that's there are artists and there's entertainers and they are separate categories because not that everyone isn't versatile, but there are some people who want to make the choice to just put any shoe on that fits and then run with it.
And that's where I see myself with this.
Yeah.
This has been the ultimate thing to prove my credibility as
Mhm.
a creator and an entertainer and storyteller. I will still continue
Oh
to
yeah.
write scripts. I will still go on set. I will still produce. But this is the thing that proves that I could do it. And I'm gonna be doing this podcast till the day I die, man. I mean, I've been doing this with, you know, for free, and it's fun. And
Yeah.
I do believe one day that I will do it. It's
And
just I will do this as
there's
my
other
career as
avenues
well.
too. I'm sure, like so I'm looking into the Patreon stuff too, and I think you should too, because there is a way to, even a $1 is better than no dollars. And even if you
Absolutely.
get five patrons on a Patreon, that's money you wouldn't have otherwise. And that's cool to see real fans. Like I would rather have 15 real fans than thousands of views and no one who really cares.
Exactly. And that's what's I've been doing as we're starting to create a following. Obviously, we're starting out. This is still a very young show and there's so
Oh
much
yeah.
to learn. But it's just what works with the podcast and me is that this is both a hobby, career path. It is just so much fun. Like after I'm
Yeah.
done speaking with you, I'm going to be listening to podcasts more. And I'm lucky enough to have that focus that I
Hmm.
could literally do this 24/7 and create this whole brand. And it happens to, and it's quote, hard work. It is hard work,
Hmm.
but it's just so much freaking fun. I love it. And I've made this with a chip on my shoulder. I was just tired, sick and tired of all these hiring managers, producers passing my resume in COVID. And I literally said, fuck this, fuck you all. I will make my own stuff. And if you
Yeah.
see the Productive Conversations website of all, that proves that this is a legitimate endeavor that will bring me far. And most importantly, give something for the audience to enjoy as an ultimate distraction. And second, most importantly, it's a great way to show these guests how awesome they are and how awesome they are to the audience.
I mean, not to make this a meme, but how many of some of the greatest greats in all aspects, not just even entertainment, had the previous greats of their industry say, nah, fuck you, that sucks,
It almost
and
seems
then
like all of them.
it blows up, and I think that's actually somewhat of an important part of a journey is being fucking rejected. Having
Oh,
people
yeah.
laugh in your face or ignore you, and that's what kind of separates people. It's like the people who are like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, and the people who are like, oh no, like you're wrong, I'll do this and do it my way and do it better.
Exactly, man.
And
That's exactly why. And that chip on my shoulder is never going away.
it's
It's
like
like why
may my enemies live long so they can see me progress. Shout
seriously.
out Deontward.
There are so many people, Joe, that you know that I know that yeah, I really want to show off. Like, look at what I've done with those people who put me down or what. And I'm still moving forward with it no
Yeah.
matter what. And like I said, this podcast is great for me, but most importantly, it's great for the audience and the guests because
Mm-hmm.
it's just so fulfilling to see the guests really grow within the time we talk and getting the chance to be open. And like I said, this podcast is a way for the guests to show their worth too. And I really believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what's beautiful about the whole podcasting medium. And that's why I'm pursuing this. I really believe it could be I really believe the world will be listening to the Productive Conversations podcast.
Oh yeah.
And every single one of my guests who've been on, even if I don't talk to them anymore, I still thank and owe them for that. And then
Mm-hmm.
the guests who come on frequently, like yourself, you're just as part of this journey. And anything I can
For
do to
sure.
pass it forward, to pay it forward and pass it on,
Mm-hmm.
please let me get the chance to do that. That's
Oh yeah.
extremely important to me too.
And we're not that far away from each other. You're out in New York, right?
Right now in Norwalk, Connecticut. So
Oh yeah,
Fairfield
well,
County.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah, so I'm in West Hartford right now. So
Yes.
I thought you were I thought you were a little bit farther away. That's funny. So we're
Yeah.
actually still in the same state. So
Yeah, not in New York right now. So
yeah,
thanks COVID,
but
but
you're right over the border there. So
yeah, so exactly.
um
But dude, we really can make something out of this, Joe. And like I said, to your friend who's a promoter, wants
mhm.
to give some type of opportunity or at least some exposure,
I mean,
productive
we should
conversations
honestly,
podcast.com.
I think we should have him on. Like Dean would be, if I can convince him the stories that he would have.
Oh, absolutely.
He is someone to have a productive conversation with. This guy has, he's really seen the industry. So,
Yeah, like,
uh,
and most importantly with Dean, of course, if he could create opportunities, that's extremely
I
appreciated.
mean,
But
that's what
most
he does.
importantly is I just want to get to know Dean and have a productive conversation with him and just
I'll,
learn
I'll send him this podcast.
Yes, and I'm confident with all of them that they are worth listening to. And I've just had a natural, diverse list of guests. And like I
Mhm.
said, that website most of all is I'm proud of, made through Squarespace to show it shows every single episode, my blogs, my resume if needed, and it just shows that this is a legit thing. This
Mhm.
podcast is legit, and it will continue to be legit. So
Hell yeah.
absolutely, seriously, and I just love talking to you, Joe. That's most of all. Most importantly, even if I don't become a famous podcaster in this world, the most valuable part is you and me talking, and then the audience who gets something out of it. That's
For
most
sure.
of all. Even if podcasts are like prohibition, take it away, make it illegal. As long as we're talking and the audience is being entertained, informed, and inspired, that's the point at the end of the day.
Hell yeah.
And it don't have to end for that. It is also priceless. So, Joe, there's just one last thing we have to do. I know we're on a time
Okay.
crunch, but after I'm done here, I'm scheduling the next show with you. But I end every first appearance with the Press
Mhm.
Questionnaire,
Okay.
and that is inside the actor's studio, 10 deep from inside the actor's studio, 10 deep but short questions. And I just would love to hear what you have to say regarding these words. So
All
are
right,
you
let's
ready,
hit
Joe,
it.
for the Press Questionnaire?
For sure. Let's hit it.
Let us hit it. Joe, my first question is, what's your favorite word?
Um, for some reason in English, the first thing that popped into my head, I've never really thought about it. It was tangential.
Tangential.
Tangential. But I also have a favorite word in Spanish, and it's guatemalteca,
Tell
which
me about
means
Guatemalteca.
it means Guatemalan woman.
All right, all right.
It's a very spicy Latin word. I like it a lot.
Thank you for adding the Latin twist to that. So number 2 is, what's your least favorite word?
I'm, I'm gonna just be so basic on this, but um, I want to say moist, but it's actually kind of not, because it's so funny as to like how it like offends the risibilities of a lot of people, and I kind of like I kind of enjoy a little bit of cringe or shock factor. You know what? Actually, one of I'm going to give you two. It's bet and facts. When
Like
used
the
like
slang
that,
terms.
yeah. I'm like,
You don't
I think
like
I
them
put
because
I think I put something up in my story. It's just like I only want to hear you use the word facts when you're telling me these are the facts. Never say to me. I mean, you can't. So many people do now. It's a thing, but it's just like when you're saying, like, I start to tune out. Like when I start hearing bet and facts, like as I'm speaking to somebody, I just start to mentally just drift away. Like the more frequently those are used, I'm like, oh God,
That's
this
facts,
this is
man.
not a productive conversation. um. So what's next?
So this is not a sexual question. This is more of a life and fulfillment question. Though on 2 occasions, 2 people did say sex. That's fine, and I guess you do you in that case. But Joe, what turns you on in this world?
Um, profits and productivity.
Oh yeah, that's on my list for what turns me on. What turns you off in this world?
Um, time wasters. People who don't respect the clock and can't get it together. Like I
Tell me
can't,
about it.
like, the quickest way to get axed out of my life is to make yourself known as someone who is not worth my time.
I hate people who don't take time seriously, and then when you call them out for not taking time seriously, then they try to twist it around and make you the asshole for it. Like I had,
Gaslighting at its finest.
dude, it's so infuriating. Like I had this guy, right? He told me, so I had to do the March Madness show, like the March Madness. I did it by myself, which
Hmm.
was actually, I wound up being more happy about it, prefer it. But he told me, so when I book these shows, I get it that people, as of now, you're not having a publicist help you book this. Some people are better at time management skills than others, and I know that coming in. So I had somebody. He told me. I told him 2 weeks ahead, like 3 weeks ahead. Hey, do you want to do this March Madness show? I said. He said yes. So I say, okay, great. As I do for everybody, I text them a week before. Hey, we're still good. He's like, oh man, I completely forgot. I have to do this thing with my family. I'm like, okay, can and then he asked about rescheduling. I was like, dude, since this tournament is coming up on this certain date, you need to tell me, by this time. I said the tournament's on Tuesday. I need it recorded by Tuesday for a Thursday show in this particular week. And he said, yeah, I can let you know Monday. Of course, Monday comes. I hit him up. He says, oh man, I forgot it. I don't think I could do it. And basically, I was saying for the first time, dude, listen, I get it. It's whatever, but you gotta stop being forgetful and like promise me you'll do this thing at this certain time and you don't. And he's like,
Yeah,
yeah, man. And he
it's
was more
especially
understanding.
frustrating with, like, when there's deadlines involved too. Like that's
Yeah. And I
because
said,
then you're putting somebody out as well.
exactly. So, but I said you could still do the pool if you want. So the pool comes out. I say, hey, can you sign up? He said, I will have it signed up by Monday, right? So I think Monday comes, or I asked him, I'm sorry, just so I don't get the dates wrong, but hypothetically speaking, so I said, can you sign up by Monday? I will have it done by Monday. Monday comes around, like Monday night. And I said, hey, did you sign up? And he was like, yeah, no, I'll get it to when I feel like it. And then I come out again, like this is the second time. Whether I said, bro, whether it's the podcast or just signing up for this pool, why do you keep telling me things you're gonna do and you don't? And I get it. I guess I could have. I'm not your boss. I'm not a hot piece of ass. I'm not I'm not something you want to make the time clearly to change. And that's fine, but don't say you're going to do it on this time. So he
Yep.
comes at me pretty much just being aggressive. I mean, of course, I could be more calm. And I know this is what happens when I misconstrue texts. Like
Yeah.
anytime I really have problems, I call, but this was just for whatever reason I did the texting. And then, he's just blowing at me and stuff. I said, bro, you call me an asshole, you call me this, but at the end of the day, I'm not coming at you because you're not signing up for the pool. And missing the podcast. I'm coming at you for you committing and agreeing to something that you're not doing. And you know that's for a fact. Of course, no response since then. But, and then I had the same thing with another guest. I had this guest in early March say, I'm going to do the show at this time. And this guy, I had to just keep reminding. The recording was scheduled for a Tuesday. I texted him on Friday, hey, can you do the show?
Mm-hmm.
That Tuesday comes, I can't do it. He said some lame excuse about homework and stuff. I was like, fine. Do you want to he said, can we reschedule? He asked me, can we reschedule? I said, okay, let's do it for next Tuesday. I asked him on Friday, hey, can we do the show? I don't hear from him. I don't hear from him at all. I text him on Monday night, the day before the scheduled recording. Hey, can you do this? He texted me at 1 a.m. saying, dude, I have to take care of my dog. I can't do it. Don't take it personally. And I said, bro, I will take it. I do feel some type of way. This is our second rescheduling.
Yeah.
You text me at 1 a.m. while I'm still asleep. I have to wake up. I wake up at 7 and I technically have a podcast in 6 hours. And you tell me that. Of course, I'm going to feel some type of way. But then he's like, oh, you never had a pet and stuff. I actually do have a cat. And like, he said like, oh, you don't have a pet. I do have a cat. And I could take care of him and still do this show. But he twists the words to make it like I'm some kind of asshole. I said, no, bro, I'm not coming at you again because I'm not being aggressive and mean just for the hell of it. You told me you were going to do something at this time and you didn't. And if you want to twist it on me and talk shit with your friends and family about how much of a dick I am, tell them exactly why I'm upset. And that's how I ended the text. Think to yourself, friend, why is Matt being mad at me? No
it's kind of hard to get you upset. So, when that happens, check
dude.
Check the source.
Right? That's like,
I don't be a dick
for the hell of it. If I'm mad, I get it. Sometimes emotions could get high as anyone and I could work on it. But I just hate when people say they're going to do something and I call them out for not doing it. And I'm all of a sudden the asshole. I'm not. That's why I'm not afraid of conflict anymore. Because at least if I look at it and I'm genuinely trying to do the right thing, then why do I have to be upset for it? And then these people can think bad for me. They can do a I hate Matt Brown fan club. But at the end of the day, the people I have gripes with in these two situations, they have to ask themselves, why are they mad at Matt? Why is Matt mad at me? Why did Matt come off as a dick?
Well, I definitely feel like you vibed out with that answer.
Yeah, right.
You had a lot to say about that one for sure.
Yeah, man. And I've had 2 instances of people ghosting on a podcast. You know who you are. You did. First one, again, the same people. They rescheduled the show, Joe. They rescheduled the show for a time. They don't even show up. Like, geez.
But that's the world of entertainment. That's
exactly,
the world it's about it's also about learning who you have to give your time preference to, and it kind of helps you separate.
As long as I could do my part being the most genuine one, or try to be, you're absolutely right, Joe. So that's what turns me off. And that's what turns you off. So be better at time management. And I will continue to do my best to be better at time management too. So
what's next? We got a few more questions on this this little wrap up list.
Exactly. So what sound or noise do you love?
What kind of noise?
Yep. What sound or noise do you love? Like some people told me like a baseball hitting a baseball being hit, or music, or people laughing. What to you is your sound or noise you love?
Sound. I don't know if it's because like I am so I'm classically trained vocalist and a bass, and basso profundo, I would always be at the A3, the lowest level, but just something about like a low level like hum or like a rumble or like thunder or just the low tones and frequencies of the world, like even something that could be loud and obnoxious, like up close at a distance can become almost like soothing. And like even like the sound of like an air conditioning coming on like in the summer at night, like, or like like a rainstorm, like the rain hitting the ceiling can kind of fall into that category of like a low sort of a tone that it creates. But I really like sort of like a rumble or a hum,
Mhm.
something like that.
Nice answer. What sound or noise do you hate?
Um, let's see. That's an interesting question. Honestly, like especially like now living in sort of a more urban setting, like just disrespectful just drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Like put a muffler on your car. Just yeah, just loud ass vehicles, like especially in the middle of the freaking night. Like, shh,
Definitely.
hey,
Shut the fuck up.
shh, thank you.
Joe, tell me what your favorite curse word is.
Um, oh boy. I don't want to get in trouble for this, but I think it's cunt just because it's so it's like so taboo and
Yeah,
it like rustles people's jimmies so hardcore.
I agree. When you
Um,
say that word, that's a real pause word. Like,
because
oh,
it's funny too, because it's one that I don't actually use a lot, and the ones you don't use a lot tend to be the ones that have like the more have more emotion behind them because it comes out like like your most I feel like your most powerful curse words come out when you like accidentally hurt yourself.
mhm.
Like you stub your toe really hard or like hit your head on something. Like whatever is the first curse word that comes out, that's like your like master sword. Like that's the one that can I feel like definitely like cunt just carries like a supreme uh form of power as far as just just passion behind it.
Now that is an answer. Awesome, awesome. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? Out of all the hats you do wear right now, what else would you like to attempt?
So something that I haven't really been able to delve into is voiceover voice acting. I haven't really
Oh, you'd be great
I've
at that.
done sporadic semi-professional things here or there, a couple of them, but I want to do specifically be a voice on a video game. I'd love to be especially a villain.
You would be
um
fucking incredible, dude. You have my support on that.
excuse me.
You're
As we're talking about voice acting, I inhale my own spit,
good.
start coughing. Um, but yeah, definitely that's something that I want to pursue, and I'm starting to as well. I actually just reached out to a contact, a former friend who lives out in LA, who actually is has something coming out on Netflix that he was involved in producing. I got to figure out.
Incredible, man. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, your natural voice is incredibly soothing, and I'm sure you could get all emotions from your voice. So, again, please for that. My other question for you is, what's what profession would you not like to do?
Um, I be having done it, dishwashing is fucking thankless. And
Yeah,
like it's very it's like no but it almost goes unacknowledged how hard that job is, how disgusting it is, especially during COVID. And it's how so many people probably walk through life never realizing that there's some dude slaving away in the back room, just like because you're usually there before open and there until after close, and it is just so. And like in even in this modern day you have to have somebody back there physically scrubbing dishes. Like it's not just
isn't it crazy?
like there's so many things that I
There
feel
hasn't
like
been
people,
a
well yeah, there's so many things I feel like people assume are like mostly if not completely automated that still have physical people doing them,
yeah, right.
like that are uh, almost, it's like how the hell have we not figured this out yet? um I have a lot of questions regarding that, but
Dude, I was at one of the production companies I worked for that I was a PA. Every single night I had to do the dishes. When I was a PA doing the dishes,
Mhm.
which is a normal thing for some PAs to do, depending
Yep.
on it's I should say it's not exactly uncommon, you know, if you're a PA doing the dishes. So when I did
Mhm.
that, bro, you don't know how bad I wanted to scream.
Oh yeah.
So this was, I'm much more mature and patient now, but dude, at one point, I'll never forget this, bro. So when I had a shift, my shift was from 12 to 9. So I remember one time at like 9:30, it was like 9:45, I was actually done. And like this production company would always have parties for clients.
Mm-hmm.
And here's some more dishes. What you do? You could go. It was like no joke, Joe, like another 45 minutes worth of dishwashing. And I got so pissed I threw the sponge in the kitchen. I threw it. And I was like deathly afraid. There was a camera there. The worst boss I've ever had, man. Oh my God. I'll never forget his name, how awful he is. Like he would take the time to probably look at those cameras to see if anyone was fucking up.
Yep.
So he could have his fucking ego get
Oh,
stronger by
I've
yelling at
worked
innocent people.
for people like that like they're the manager, they're the owner, but they won't come in and actually do anything to like help the company, but they will watch the cameras and like be like just look for just micromanage, nitpick, and it's just like just run your own company. Like
That motherfucker, dude, has no sympathy. And anyways, I there was a camera. It's really a stupid place to put the camera, but I couldn't tell if it was actually pointing towards where the kitchen was. And it was just such a weird angle. And for like weeks, I was like, man, they're gonna see me. I throw it. And I had to like, I have to clean. Now I have to clean the cabinet. Again, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done it. That was immature.
yeah.
But working at that company, they did a lot of mature things too. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And what a pain in the ass that doing the. But I know like people leaving whole meals out there. Like I remember there's one instance this guy would give me these like the parfaits, like granola parfaits, barely touched. I have to scrape that shit. And
yeah,
they
human
didn't.
beings are gross.
Yes, they didn't have a dishwasher, which would have just changed everything.
Yeah.
They had this room the size of a dishwasher. It was a dish hand sanitizer. Was the stupidest waste of money. You could put a goddamn fucking dishwasher in there. A dish hand sanitizer, not hand a dish sanitizer. So we're basically just using this machine to make the dishes more shiny.
Gross.
And that shit never even worked too. Like it broke down twice a week. Instead of hiring a mechanic, I mean, this production company, I get it. There's people who've done much worse PA jobs that are not even close to what I'm complaining about with the dishwashing and then the weird shit they made us do. But man, I know all about that dishwashing.
Oh yeah.
And it was just for those clients and people, and they just, why don't you just throw it in my fucking face and pie me the way you don't even care? Like the littlest things to put, there's a garbage in the compost. And oh man, this has been some Press Questionnaire. But anyways, I have one final question, Joe, until we talk next time. And that question is, if heaven exists, what would you like God here say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Wow, that's an interesting question.
That's my favorite question to ask on this.
What would I want to hear, or what do I think I would hear?
It's what I want to hear. No one's ever asked that before. What do you? That'd be some question.
I feel like I would hear, how the hell did you get here?
Joe, you're the great Joe Yankus. I think it's obvious.
But I probably would want to hear something along the lines of like, barely made it as usual.
Oh man, I'm sure, Joe, that you'll be pleasantly surprised when you get a easy seat in heaven. But Joe, I could talk to you all day. I said it's 2:30, but I'm willing to make some adjustments for the rest of my day for this. So,
yeah.
Joe, like I said, this was a pleasure. Thank you for coming on. I'm gonna literally finish this meeting, and we're gonna schedule our next one.
Hell
You
yeah.
are a great guest. Thank you so much, Joe, for this, and I can't wait to keep doing this on a regular basis. One more time, can you tell us where we can find your work?
So yeah, I'm at Yo Yankus on all social media, Instagram. It's 2 words for SoundCloud if you Google it. But yeah, so that's YOJANKUS. It's obviously 1 word for most handles, but it's 2 words because my name is Joe Yankus. So YOJANKUS. And yeah, I got plenty of music out there, more to come. And more than just music in the works too. So
Oh, we can't wait to do that. Can't wait to talk again. Joe Yankus, you're an incredible human being. Thank you so much. That's Joe Yankus. I'll see you really soon, Joe. Thank you so much, my friend.
peace out.